Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and before we dive into today's explosive story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and share this video so that more people can join the conversation. What you are about to hear is a story that once again proves South Africa's political and social temperature is boiling over. The streets are restless, the voices are loud, and the stakes have never been higher. This time, it's about Operation Dudula, Minister of Home Affairs Aaron Motsoaledi, and a dramatic chain of events that has left the country buzzing from Johannesburg to Cape Town, from WhatsApp groups to township taverns. It all started with the arrest of a group of women believed to be part of Operation Dudula activities. These arrests were carried out in a tense climate, with police citing charges that ranged from intimidation to unlawful gatherings. For many onlookers, it seemed like the state was finally moving to clamp down on what has often been described as vigilante-style operations targeting foreign nationals. But then came the twist that nobody saw coming: the women were released. No prolonged court battles, no extended detention, just a sudden reversal that sent shockwaves through the movement's supporters and opponents alike. When the news broke that the arrested women had been freed, emotions exploded. In one corner, you had Dudula members and sympathizers celebrating what they saw as a victory for justice and the people. For them, the arrests were nothing more than political intimidation, a way to silence their demands for stricter immigration enforcement. Their release was a sign that, as they put it, truth always wins. But on the other side, critics were left shaking their heads in disbelief, asking how such cases could simply evaporate in thin air. They saw this as a dangerous signal, emboldening groups to take the law into their own hands without fear of real consequences. Enter Aaron Motsoaledi, a man who has never been one to mince words when it comes to immigration policy. Known for his tough stance on undocumented migrants and his defense of strict border management, the Home Affairs Minister found himself in the middle of this firestorm. Reports quickly emerged that members of Operation Dudula had sought an audience with him in the wake of the women's release, demanding clarity and even throwing their weight behind his continued crackdown on illegal immigration. The meeting itself was tense, with Dudula members presenting their version of events, arguing that the state should be focusing on what they see as the real culprits, foreign nationals they accuse of economic sabotage and crime. But the streets were far from quiet. As word of the release spread, protests erupted in several parts of the city. In some areas, placards were raised high with slogans demanding tougher action against foreigners, while in others, counter-protesters called out what they described as xenophobia wrapped in patriotism. The atmosphere was volatile, with police on high alert to prevent confrontations from spiraling out of control. In downtown Johannesburg, chants of "Motsoaledi, stand firm" clashed with shouts of "Stop the hate" as the ideological battle played out in real time on the pavements. The reaction online was just as fiery. Social media timelines lit up with videos from the protests, commentary from political analysts, and heated debates between ordinary South Africans. WhatsApp voice notes circulated, each claiming to have inside info about what really happened behind closed doors between Dudula leaders and the minister. Some insisted that Motsoaledi is walking a fine line, trying to appease grassroots movements like Operation Dudula while also keeping the government's public image clean in the face of international scrutiny. Others accused him of using the chaos to strengthen his own political brand ahead of looming political contests. What makes this situation so complicated is that it's not just about one arrest or one release. It's about years of tension in South Africa over immigration, unemployment, and public safety. It's about communities feeling abandoned by the state, left to fend for themselves in a competitive and often unforgiving economic environment. Operation Dudula, whether one agrees with their methods or not, has tapped into a real and widespread frustration, one that mainstream politics has struggled to address effectively. And now, with this latest episode, that frustration has found yet another outlet in the form of mass protests and heated public discourse. Aaron Motsoaledi's involvement adds an extra layer of complexity because he is both a symbol of government authority and a figure who has at times spoken in ways that echo Dudula's calls for stricter enforcement. This creates a strange political dance where both sides need each other but also risk being accused of legitimizing each other's controversial positions. Dudula wants the minister's public support to validate their cause, while Motsoaledi benefits from showing he's in touch with community concerns, but too much visible alignment could trigger backlash from human rights groups and international observers. Meanwhile, the women at the center of this story have become almost symbolic figures. For Dudula supporters, they are heroines who stood up for their communities and paid the price by being dragged into police custody. For critics, they are a dangerous example of what happens when citizens take immigration enforcement into their own hands. Their release has now cemented them in the public imagination as part of a much bigger struggle over who gets to control South Africa's streets and borders. As protests continue and the political noise grows louder, one question lingers in the air: what comes next? Will the government take steps to rein in groups like Operation Dudula, or will the movement's popularity in certain communities give it even more space to operate? And what about Motsoaledi? Will he double down on his already tough stance, or will he attempt a more balanced approach to tensions? For now, all eyes remain on both the streets and the corridors of power. One thing is clear: South Africa is at a crossroads where grassroots activism, government policy, and public anger are colliding in unpredictable ways. The release of these women has lit a fresh fire under a debate that has been simmering for years, and the outcome could reshape not only the immigration conversation but also the political landscape itself. Whether you see it as a win for the people or a dangerous precedent, there's no denying that the events of this week will be remembered as yet another turning point in the country's ongoing struggle to define its future. And as always, we'll be here to bring you every twist and turn, every statement, every protest, and every moment that shapes this unfolding story. Make sure you stay tuned, because if there's one thing we've learned from South African politics, it's that nothing is ever truly settled, it's just waiting for the next spark.